Hey everyone, Ben Coomber Radio, episode number 279. Now, I'm pretty pumped, I'm going to be honest, for today's guest because I've known her a long time, not loads in person, I will be honest. We've met a little bit, but from afar on the internet. I've respected the journey, I've seen the journey right from the beginning, and I love everything that she's about, the mission that she's on, the values that she promotes, the integrity that she has, and she's inspired a huge amount of people to be more aware of their health and fitness, their body image, and all of that shit is really cool. Alice Living, welcome to the show.
Well, I am just blushing right now. That was a wonderful introduction.
Well, it's true. We have known each other a while. We've spoken, infrequently over the years. You've grown to have an incredible following of people that really value what you do. I've never seen anything that you've put out online that has kind of like, I'm going to say, stepped outside your value boundary, which is very common in fitness, and that is something I truly respect.
Oh, thank you, Ben. And I am an avid listener to the podcast. You are my commuting fodder, so I like to listen to you when I'm going to work.
Now, I don't know how many people, and you feel free to correct me, will know of your name as Alice Living.
Yeah.
So much of your journey to date has been the name that you coined, Clean Eating Alice. And Indeed. It's something that, recently you moved away from, you changed your Instagram handle. Talk me through that process, and are you also currently still trying to battle sort of undoing some of that?
Yeah, I mean, so like I started my Instagram when I was at university. It was 3 years ago now. And naturally, as anyone grows up, we evolve and we change and we learn new things. And we kind of, I remember when I was 15 wearing thick black eyeliner on both lids, so above and below. And, I just don't do that shit anymore. So as with trends and things like that, the name had a place. It worked for a time. It embodied stuff that I thought I was doing, but it came to garner a negative, a negative attachment or a negative kind of vibe. And it started to become an umbrella term for lots of different factions that I just didn't align with. So I think clean eating was, to me, and the way I saw it was I was just trying to eat healthily. I never really cut anything out. I'm not a veggie. I'm not lactose intolerant. I'm not gluten intolerant. I eat all of those things. And I was just trying to overhaul my diet in a sense and just kind of get more stuff in rather than take stuff out. However, as the trend progressed, it started to be used to as like I said, as an umbrella term for lots of different factions within it that had slightly negative connotations. So things like, people that were cutting out or telling people to restrict a lot of different things, people that were going veggie, or, not that there's anything wrong with any of those things, but I think it was the nature in which it was done, in that people were almost made to fear certain food groups, and a lot of negativity was attached to things that didn't necessarily warrant a negative image. So, as with, my parents' generation, fat was like the demon. And I think it sort of has taken a similar stance in that clean eating has become the demon, and people have seen it as a very much a negative thing. And, whilst I've said, just before that I didn't feel like I was in that negative side of clean eating, I just didn't feel like it was a correct kind of description of everything that I was doing. And, like I said, my journey had progressed. I became a personal trainer. I was doing a lot more fitness. And my kind of growth veered slightly towards the more sort of fitness side of things and away from the nutrition and the foodie things. And so, it came to the start of this year, and I'd published 3 books under the Clean Eating Alice name. And I was like, do you know what? Like, I've grown up, and I respect and I love everything that I did under the name, but actually it's time now to take a step away, and it's time now to grow up with my brand. It's been 3 years of doing it, and it was time to make that leap. And I tell you what, it was terrifying, and there was like lots of sleepless nights of thinking, oh my God, are people gonna unfollow me or whatever? But no, I'm really pleased with how it's gone down, and I'm really pleased that I made the jump.
Now, someone in your position that has a lot of people, this on a kind of quite a high level working with you. I'm talking about publishers, book agents, press people. Was that the hardest part? Almost like sitting down with them and saying, by the way, I'm going to make this move, because it's a big brand move, right?
Yeah, it is. Look, I don't have a huge team. I think I keep things really, really tight. I don't have anyone that works for me. I have a manager. I have a literary agent who deals with my publishers, but that's about it. And the reason why I chose to work with those people is because ultimately they respected everything that I wanted to do before their own kind of ideas.
Sure.
And so when it came down to the brand change, it was like, of course we had a conversation about it and pros and cons were placed on the table, but actually why I love those people and why I continue to work with them is the fact that they supported my decision 100%. And that made things a hell of a lot easier. I'm very lucky to have people around me that support me, but that support my decisions instead of trying to veer me in a certain way.
That's awesome. I think that's a bit of a lesson on any level for people, whether you're working with people career-wise, friends and family, is that if you get that much resistance in your journey, you have to question those people and whether they're right to be around you, because I love that story and they're just going to help you in whatever you need to do. Yeah, you might have to iron out a few details, but ultimately it's what you want to do. I love that.
And there's a huge difference between advice and trying to create something that's in it. Because I think, with the boom of Instagram and the boom of social media and Insta famous people, I think a lot of people have big dollars in their eyes and just see, oh my God, let's make this person X, Y, or Z. And I'd like to think, and I hope that my books and everything was because I genuinely wanted to do it. I genuinely had a passion to put to page things that I'd learned, my journey and everything. And not because someone else was trying to steer me from behind the scenes and create this kind of, brand as such. It's always been very much my choices and my journey.
So let's rewind a little bit, because we've sort of dived in a small jugular. Take me back to what happened. You're at university. There was a bit of a point where you said, well, I want to get healthier. I need to get healthier. Talk me through the steps that you've gone into that's almost got to this point today.
Yeah, so I guess growing up, I think I had quite a poor relationship with food, and I think my mum will be the first to admit that came from her side of things. My mum was quite significantly overweight when I was growing up. She was sort of really, and as a result, having quite a large number of health issues, which I saw. And naturally, without even realizing her behaviors around food and her sort of insecurities and her issues with food were passed onto me subconsciously, onto all of us, I guess, in some way, but onto me. So it became down to little things like every single meal we'd have a dessert, no matter what. There'd always be something sweet afterwards. And, we would have lots of sweets and treats around the house, and the cupboards would always be full of yummy things. And we were, I was always encouraged to eat well. And it wasn't that I was eating junk food. It was just, I guess, developing a few poor habits and with food. And then when I went away to university, I'd been cooked for my whole life by my mum. My mum's an amazing cook. And suddenly it was like, oh my God, I've got free reign over my diet. I can eat whatever I want. And I lived, 2 minutes from the local shop, which had pizza and ice cream and chips and all that yummy kind of stuff that you just want to gorge on when you're a student. And I fell into that habit of just living off convenience, living off lots of junk food. And don't get me wrong, junk food has its place, but it doesn't have its place every single day for every single meal. And so from there, realised that probably wasn't the best way to eat. At the time, I was studying musical theatre at university. I went to a place called Bird College, where I wasn't a typical university student. We were training for 8 hours a day, doing dance, theatre, singing, everything. And I couldn't survive off the food that I was eating. Oh, I could survive, that's the wrong word. I couldn't function optimally off the food that I was eating, and I wasn't getting the most out of my training. And so, yeah, end of first year, sort of moving into second year, I had this big wake-up call where I was like, do you know what? Like, I'm not the most talented person in my year. There's a hell of a lot of people. It's an incredibly competitive environment. But I'm letting an opportunity go to waste because I'm just sort of drinking, eating rubbish, and becoming incredibly self-conscious as a result, and therefore hiding at the back of every single class and hiding myself away and not making the most of the opportunities that I had in front of me. So I started to look online. I saw and started to follow a couple of people who were doing, similar things to what I wanted to do, which was just to kind of overhaul my diet.
Whoa. Tell me who were some of the people. Do you mind saying some of the people you followed in the early days? Because I'm always intrigued about who got us like the first step. Because like Paul Check was my first step.
Oh really? So, oh god, you're gonna kill me now. So Joe Wicks.
Yeah.
I have to admit. Yeah, I really started early on. It was on Facebook, Joe Wicks.
Okay.
So he used to do his little Facebook videos. I London Muscle, who I'd previously worked with. Kayla It Signs was coming up then, like all the kind of big people that were starting out. And it was more that kind of inspiration of like, it seems to be quite not glamorous, what's the word? It just seemed to be quite exciting to be healthy, and they just looked so well. And so I was like, do you know what? I'm going to try and do this. But I wanted to do it in a different way, and I really wanted to use social media as my way of being able to keep motivation, because up until that point, I'd been such a diet whore. Like, I'd done every single diet. I remember doing, crazy shit, like Weight Watchers soup for every single meal, stupid stuff that when you're like a teenager you just fall into, and it's ridiculous. But I really wanted to do something that I was actually able to stick to, and that it wasn't just going to be, I'm doing this for my summer holiday, and I really wanted to make a change to my life. And early on I came to that realization. So yeah, when I started my Instagram and following those people, it was like, okay, well, this is going to be a really long-term thing. And for that reason, I started taking pictures of my meals, taking pride in what I was making, because up until that point, I was shoving something in an oven on a tray, and suddenly my meals were looking quite exciting and colourful and vibrant with all these veggies. And so yeah, that's how I got started.
And it led into having 3 awesome books.
Indeed. In a roundabout way, life was very, very, very good to me, and I'm incredibly grateful for that.
I do find there is a massive pleasure in writing. I don't know what it is. I think I've got about 11 or 12 books that I've already mapped out that I want to write, because I don't know, it's not an ego thing. When you're so passionate about something and you see so many people around you, I'm not going to say struggle, but just there's a few things that need to slot into place for them. If you can be that person to just slot a few things into place, bang, you've literally changed someone's life. And that's what I love about the power of words. Yeah,
I completely agree. And also, there's something that is still so powerful about a physical book. With the huge rise of social media and people going online for absolutely everything, I honestly feel that literature and books still have a place, and people still like a physical book. And I think they're special for that reason. And each one of my books, I take such a huge pride in every single part of them, from the design to the fonts to the the layout, and every point in the design phase I am involved. And coming down to things like, I'd be on shoots and stuff, and I'd be checking the photography every 2 seconds, because I'd want to see exactly how the photos are coming out, because I had in my mind a vision of how they would look, and I wanted to be all over that. So no, I think you're right. I think there is something so special about writing down in a physical book certain things recipe books and all these kind of things. I remember my mum having tattered old recipe books in the kitchen that she'd passed down from my grandma to my, down to her, and they were like falling apart, but they're still special, and they, you have your favorite recipes. And I think there's something that's so wonderful about the fact that we still buy physical and enjoy physical books.
I think it was about, I don't know, it's probably about 4, 5, maybe 6 years ago, the media started to really sort of hypothesize that it would be the end of print, that digital would be the way forward. Less people were buying newspapers, more people were buying ebooks. And I have probably purchased about 50 ebooks. And God's honest truth, I've read 2 of them. And both of those books were probably under about 30 pages. Because I don't want to stare at a screen anymore. Like, I'm in front of a computer quite a bit for my job, and I don't like you said, there's something raw about a book, feeling the pages, just the engagement with something where there's no other distraction. And if you're looking something at your iPad, a Facebook notification comes up, and then you're like, oh, maybe I'll look at that. And I'm really glad books haven't died. Really glad.
Me too, and I make notes in all of mine. If I'm reading a book, I'll have a pen with me 9 times out of 10, and I'll be scribbling stuff down or underlining things. And it's that escapism as well, that your phone can go away and you can just dive into a book for however long and enjoy it. Do
you find you're able to escape enough in your world? It's busy. You're in London. You've got books, clients. There's a lot going on. What do you do to escape?
You know what? I love getting away. Like, as much as I can. So I went to Norfolk this weekend, which was amazing. Spent 2 days in a house with very little signal and with my boyfriend. It was pretty cool. I also find that I love spending time with my family. I've got a really, really close knit family. I'm so really close with my mum. We don't live far from London, so going back to my parents, I don't know, there's something really special about going back to your parents, and we've got 2 dogs, and so I find that quite it keeps me grounded 100%. I think that's really important. Is you can live in London and you can do exciting, glamorous things, and you can live the life of fun, but going home and having to do the washing up in your mum's kitchen is what keeps your feet on the ground and keeps me working hard. And
it's humbling. It is.
Yeah, for sure.
Kind of picking up on the social media age, because your life is very much in social media, and there's massive amounts of positive things that can come from social media and huge amounts of negative things that can come from it as well.
Yeah.
If you have people that are listening to this and watching your work, what do you want people to get from social media? What are some of the negatives and positives that you kind of see, and how do you want people to be packaging the information that they see? Okay,
let's start with the negs so that we can bring it up with the positives in a second.
Okay.
So I'll go straight in with the negs. I think it's incredibly difficult to disassociate between reality and social reality, the social realm. So it's incredibly difficult sometimes for people to see that the wider context of people's lives, and instead what they believe to be real is a perfectly curated world of social media put together in a few snapshots of their life. Okay, that can lead to people feeling incredibly dissatisfied at their own lot, and dissatisfied with things like their body image, dissatisfied at their financial situation, dissatisfied at their their life, their lifestyle. People look like they're having fun 24/7. People look like they're working out 24/7. People look like they eat amazing meals 24/7, and it can sometimes be a little bit overwhelming to step back from that and then look at your own life and be like, well, I've only made 1 meal from scratch today. I've had to eat a packet of rice that I shoved in the microwave for my lunch, and I've had to have a couple of boiled eggs from Pret on the go for my breakfast. Does that mean that I'm not living? Does that mean I'm not as good as the next person? And I think that's where we have issues, and that's where people start to develop these kind of real insecurities about their own lot. And the other side of things, and something that I see Sorry, that's a really sad one, but it's something that I feel it needs to be talked about. But the other thing, and this is more moving towards my life as in my job as a personal trainer, is the amount of just, I'm going to throw it out there, Ben, just the amount of bullshit that flies around, you know. It creeps up every day, you know. There's stuff that goes on, and I all I have to do is scroll through my feed or my kind of that, what's it called, the explore page, to see lots of stuff that I just don't think is beneficial to the majority of the population for their fitness goals, yet is getting thousands and thousands of views and thousands of likes. And really the people that I follow, it's the stuff that's not so sexy and the stuff that's kind of actually pretty common sense and fairly simple in terms of fitness advice that I think is amazing, but that people it's just not that kind of quick fix, like sexy answer that people are looking for. So yeah, I think we need to sort of have some sort of ability to be able to recognize the good from the bad in terms of fitness advice and nutrition and you know, all of those kind of things, because Instagram has become the place where people go for their information. You know, you might Google something, but you also might head over to your favorite Instagram and be like, oh, have they talked about this? And if that person's giving out incorrect information, if they're not qualified to give that advice, if the stuff that they're saying is very much anecdotal evidence rather than science-based, evidence-based advice, that's where we have problems. And so that can lead to a lot of, you know, issues, and I'm sure you've seen it in the news and stuff. It can be dangerous. So yeah, as a PT, I struggle with some of the bullshit that flies around out there. But, right, positives.
Before you go on, there's something that's in my head, so I'm going to get it out.
Yeah,
one of the things that, because you mentioned body image, one of the things that I love about Instagram, and it's such a small thing, is there's a lot of people like Chessie King, similar characters that post like this split screen view where they're like posed and when they're like unposed. And I think that is amazing, because you think how many people like walk past a mirror and just catch themselves, and they expect to look a certain way. And this is obviously something that's very big on Instagram, is, you know, get in the perfect angle so you look amazing. And just so little of our life is caught at that perfect angle. And I love those photos, because it's making so many, you know, men and women just think, yeah, I do look fucking normal most of the time. And that is how I'm meant to look. I'm not meant to look contoured and tanned and tensed. And, you know, I really like that.
I absolutely agree. Look, if anything, a real positive, and what I was going to come back to, is definitely that I've seen a rise in people just being a little bit more real with everything they're doing. And just, yeah, Chessie's a wonderful, wonderful role model in the sense that she is just so happy to be both. She's happy to show the good and show a beautiful photo and show her looking absolutely amazing. And she's just as happy to do that as she is to, you know, show the stuff that, you know, you probably wouldn't post if you were creating a perfect Instagram world. And for that reason, people can look and say, oh my God, like, she's just normal. She's normal like everyone else. And that's a really, really positive step that I think a lot of bloggers have taken. And yeah, I think actually body image is something that is so personal, and it's something that we probably think about. Maybe like every single person, I think, thinks about that. You know, it's the shell that we walk in for every single day of every single year of our life, and so we think about it. And sometimes it changes, and sometimes it looks great, and that's okay. But sometimes it doesn't look so great, and that's also okay. You know. And so for people to highlight that and make that a thing on social media is really, really positive, and it's a really positive step.
So if people were to look at your Instagram and sort of think, oh, I wonder what Alice's values are. What is it I'm trying to get from Alice? What are some of the 3 or 4 key values that you really try and live every day and get the people that follow your work to buy into?
I think the first thing is just, I think I try and just be really realistic. And I know my meals I make a little bit more effort than the average person with how they look, but especially with my videos and everything that I do, I don't want it to seem like hard work to just live well. I don't want it to seem as though it's this sort of unattainable elitist thing that people can't do no matter where they are and who they are. And so for me, that's really, really important to try and get across. I also think, personally, having been on this journey of self-discovery, self-acceptance, self-love, and all of these kind of things, it would be to just, and I did a post about it yesterday actually, but just to accept who you are today, because I think a lot of people are just trying to always be better. We always want more. We want more material objects. We want to be, I've had so many clients that come in and say, well, basically, I want to lose a stone. And it's like, okay, but like, why? What in your head has placed that, what if I lose a stone, then I'll be happy, And people have we always want so much. But actually, sometimes it's about stopping and being like, well, here I am today. This is what I am. Whether I'm having a good day or a bad day, I just need to accept what I am today, and that can improve. And it can also, but then, shit happens, life happens, and sometimes we're not going to be able to control everything, and sometimes we're not going to be able to look amazing or do X, Y, or Z. So it's just accepting how you are today. I'm sorry, I can literally talk for England, can't I? Okay, the next thing I'm going to say, especially when it comes to my PT and my fitness stuff, I am so, so passionate about encouraging anyone and everyone to be able to move their body and just move in a way that feels good, that's safe, and that is going to hopefully improve their lifestyle. And so that doesn't mean that it's lifting heavy weights, but I am transparent and say that's what I do and that's what I enjoy, and that's why most of my content focuses around that. But if people don't enjoy that, then that's absolutely fine. And I'm not going to force someone to do something they're not going to enjoy. But I guess movement is the word that I like to use, because a lot of it is just can you just move your body? And just today in the news, it was like people don't even walk 40 minutes. There was a stat on the news this morning that said people over 60 don't even walk 40 minutes a week, or a month even, I think it was. In a month, 40 minutes of power walk, like brisk walking. And I think we as a nation need to just learn to move more, and not try to put labels on things, not try to follow a plan for X amount of weeks or do stuff like that. It's just about overall movement.
It's actually, it sounds silly. It's one of my business dreams to create enough freedom that I can move for half of the day. Because at the moment, I'm inside probably 8 to 10 hours a day. I'm quite passionate about my job. I work quite a bit. And I try to do as much outside as possible. Like, I'll take phone calls, walking the dog. I've got an exercise bike in my office. But if I could be outdoors like half of the day, like going for a run, walking the dog, eating outside, I feel amazing. I feel brilliant when I do it.
And the thing is that I love that. But if I look at my client base now, I've got clients who start work at 8 in the morning and don't leave their desk until 6 o'clock at night. And they, that is the reality for them. And then they've got 2 kids, I've just got one on the top of my head who I saw earlier. She's got 2 kids at home who then take up all of her time. So she's inside with them because as soon as she gets in, it's dinner time and then it's bath time. And it's like, she finds it difficult to see where it can fit in, but she can do it. And it is realistic, but it's about making it accessible to her and about making it seem as though it's not going to be this big, hard task of like, I have to go to the gym for an hour a day. It's like, okay, well, at lunchtime, why don't we look at taking 20 minutes out of your lunch? You can leave your desk, you're allowed, it's okay, people aren't going to judge you, to just go on a walk around the block or choose to have your lunch from somewhere that's a little bit further away so that you get that walk in and maybe do 1,000 steps in your lunch break and get a bit of fresh air. Like, you have to make it seem achievable, otherwise nobody's going to do it. So it's about moving, but being realistic with it as well.
I think declassifying a lot of things really helps, because a lot of people have to package everything. Like steps, we have to do 10,000 a day. We go in the gym, we have to do an hour. There's actually nothing wrong with a 10-minute workout. Like, if you've only got 10 minutes, just do 10 minutes.
I listened to a podcast of yours recently where you use the phrase, you just have to play, and the freedom of just playing. And you know, for some people, that structure of having to do X, Y, or Z can be a little bit too much. And actually getting in the gym and doing things like handstands or wherever they are, even if they're at home, doing things like handstands, doing things like back bends or whatever, yoga stuff, or just playing, moving their body and having freedom with it can be what some people need. Okay, it's not for everyone, but like you said, you like the freedom of being able to just be like, okay, well, today I'm going to do this, and having that freedom with it. I think I really liked that.
So I want to finish up on diet. It's something that we talked about initially and then came away from.
Yeah.
You kind of had this name, Clean Eating Alice. You moved into a way of thinking. You had a certain set of beliefs when you created that name. Tell me how that name evolved and the belief evolved, because I get the impression you became almost slightly orthorexic about the principle and didn't veer outside it, and then that started to really open up and you kind of absorbed lots of different principles, and that was when you said the name, to you, it just didn't feel right anymore.
So I will be totally transparent and say yes, absolutely. I started and I believed that I was living this way and I wanted to stick to it 100%. But actually, as that progressed, I was like, hang on a second, like, I'm actually saying no to going to Nando's with my friends because I want to be at home and make my lunch. Or I was not going out on a night out because I didn't really want to drink because I wanted to go to the gym the next day. And when I looked at it that way, I was like, well, and this was over a long period of time. This wasn't just like overnight. I was like, oh God. It took me a while to come to that realization. But when I did, I was like, well, what is it that I value as health, and what is health to me? Because if health is not doing those things, then I don't think I'm healthy. I think health to me is, and it became, as I progressed on my journey, much more of a 360 picture rather than just, this is what I eat to be healthy, and then I go to the gym to be healthy. It was like, well, health for me is relaxing and spending time with my friends and doing fun shit and, letting loose and maybe having champagne and enjoying myself. And health to me is so much more than just the food on my plate and the stuff that I do at the gym. And as soon as I started to realize that, I really broadened my beliefs as to what I was doing and my practices and everything that I sort of started believing sort of got a bit lost, and I started to just make new habits and just let go a little bit and just be like, do you know what? Like, life's bigger than this. Life's bigger. Life is important to, for me, health is an important thing. I rank it highly in terms of, like, in my life, I think my health is quite an important pillar stone of everything that I'm trying to achieve. But it's not everything. And actually, like I said previously, it encompasses lots of different things that don't just include food and fitness. And so, yeah, then really I started to, and I hate the word, but just have a bit more balance with everything. And I think it's quite a noticeable document because from things like, I'm always very honest and say I track macros at the beginning, but just moving away and eating in a way that wasn't regimented by an app on my phone, and, being able to just have days where I wasn't sticking to a program and I could just go to the gym and kind of do stuff that I fancied, or even not go to the gym and just go for a walk, those kind of things. And as soon as I started to do that, then I felt real kind of a lot more acceptance, a lot more happiness, a lot more freedom, and I was really starting to be everything that I wanted to be, which was just at peace with what I was doing. And instead of feeling like I had this kind of pressure on myself to do certain things, it was like, well, what's the worst that can happen if you don't do these things? And the pressure went, and now it's just been onwards and upwards, and I've really felt like I found my groove. And I'm in a super, super good place with everything, and I have been for a long time now, and I feel great. And I think, it's important, and I think it was important to go through that that restrictive, kind of slightly restrictive stage, to realise that there's more to life than that.
And ultimately, that's why you are going to be a good inspiration and teacher to others, because you can share that pain. You can share that struggle. You can, you've been there. It's the same with me. Like I've been to some pretty, dark places with my health and weight and stuff, and I can say to people, like, you don't want to go there. It's not very pretty. It doesn't look very nice. You don't feel very good.
And I think, can I just say, ultimately, for me, empathy is my number one, pillar of everything that I try and be and in everything that I do. Being able to put myself in someone else's shoes and say, I understand. When I have a client sat in front of me, or if I'm replying to a message on a DM, it's really important to be able to relate to how that person is feeling, because I think both you and I know in some way what it feels like to really be at rock bottom. And I think it's so important to understand that and sympathise with that. And instead of seeing myself as this big, Insta famous and losing touch with reality and all of those kind of things that I see a lot of people do, I actually have to remind myself almost daily that actually, I was there, that was me, and it's not nice and it feels shit. And actually those are the people that I'm really trying to make a difference to. So yeah, I think that's really, really important.
Amazing. I've really enjoyed this.
Good.
I think some really nice information's come out of today. I know that a lot of people have already bought your book, should have a look at buying your book. You've written 3 different books. If someone was to go and have a look at your books, what would they learn? What does your books try and achieve for people?
To be honest, like a lot of them it's recipe inspiration. I don't tell people how to eat. I don't give macros. I don't give people meal plans. But I try and give them delicious food that is full of goodness that they're going to hopefully incorporate into a balanced diet. So it really is just giving them recipe inspiration. There's a lot in there about my own journey, things I've done to get to where I am today. And then my first and my third book both have fitness elements to them, where I give sort of a lot of home workouts and a lot of accessible fitness kind of advice and information for people to be able to do from the comfort of their own home. So
awesome. Well, Alice, thank you very much for being on the show. If people want to find you, it's now your name all over social media?
It is. So it's at Alice Living, and it's a really annoying living with LIVE with an annoying EING. I'm on Twitter at Alice Living _, and on Facebook it's just _Alice Living. Okay,
there we go. People, go and check out Alice's work. I love her Instagram. It's fucking way prettier than mine is. Yeah, you can tell I'm a really functional nutritionist, because I kind of just like, when I put things on a plate, I go, ugh. Oh, she's gone. Alice is gone. So I will finish up the show because she's disappeared. We were having some troubles with Skype before we connected. I'll see if she'll... There she is. I don't know what happened.
We cut out. I don't know what happened.
I thought you'd mugged me off.
Can you believe? Thank God that happened at the end. Though. Bloody hell! Commercialised mid-flow. As you can tell, I get quite passionate.
If you've enjoyed this show, reach out to Alice, communicate with her, follow on social media, have a look at her books. Everyone loves a recipe book. Everyone wants fitness ideas. Alice keeps it simple, and I really appreciate that. Alice, I, for one, will keep enjoying watching how you grow and how you evolve. I think there's obviously a lot more exciting things. You're passionate, you're patient, so more good things are going to happen. I like that.
Thank you.
So for everyone listening, go check that out. If you see this on social media, give it a share, engage with us. We like that. If you've never left a review for this show on iTunes, please do that. It helps me support the show, and it helps more people find the show, and I would really appreciate that. I will be back next week with either Tom or another amazing guest. Alice, thank you again.
Thank you, Ben. Honestly, I've really enjoyed it. You're a legend. Thank you for having me.
Good. And for everyone else, stay awesome. Goodbye.
Whoa, hang on a second before you go. Remember that if you want loads of health and fitness and juicy information about nutrition, the science of nutrition and training and health and all that kind of juicy stuff, then go to bodytypenutrition.co.uk, where you can get loads of information. You can read our blog, you can look at our online nutrition courses, you can get loads of cool information there. You can also have a look at all the books that I've written. And also, if you want some clarity in the world of supplementation, please go to awesomesupplements.co.uk, the place where supplements work. We have none of the bullshit around supplements. They taste incredible, and we're here to help you as much as possible get clarity on what supplements you need and what you don't need. Now, go and enjoy your day. Be awesome.
Hey everyone, Coomber Radio, episode number 278.